Hey guys, Evylyn here. How are you all doing? So today's video, guys, is going to be about my second part of the 5.4 warrior guide that I brought out. Today's part is going to include my macros, then my keybinds, and finally the warrior rotation for 5.4. Okay, so before we get into that though, guys, I wanted to show you guys something. And that something is, I actually am on Warcraft movie stat. Some of you may not know and some of you may know. And I post some of the videos that I do there on here as well, just to get our content out there a bit more, guys, so people on Warcraft movies can enjoy all the good stuff that we enjoy on YouTube. Now if you guys want to go there and maybe like a couple of my videos, you're more than welcome to. There'll be a link in the description on the video, pretty much every video I've done for the last couple of months, so you guys should definitely check that out. Now there's two other ways to get in contact with me. One is Facebook, and as you guys see, yesterday, last night we passed over 100 likes on that, so it's pretty cool, guys. You guys are awesome. I mean, if you guys want to interact with me, this is a really good way to have some fun and talk to me. Maybe you can actually message me on here if you want to. I mean, don't spam me, of course. But if you guys want to talk, it's a good place to do so. And I also have a Twitter, which you guys can see here when I post videos or competitions or etc. I do that on Facebook too, and the links to both Facebook and Twitter are also in the description, and believe it or not, also in my video. So you guys should definitely check out that if you want to get more interactive with me. That's a good way. I also do plan on doing some Q&As on Facebook, maybe stuff like that, competitions, extra, I don't know, we'll see in the future. Maybe organize some events on Facebook, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so guys, let's eventually get on with the video. Okay, so guys, first up we have is my macros. Now the first macro I'm going to show you is my 1-for-all 3 macro, and all this does is uses Shockwave, Bladestorm or Dragon Rod depending on spec, and also use auto attack during Bladestorm if you press the button a couple of times. Now you're probably wondering why I would have it like that. Well, for my stance macros I have Bladestorm into battle stance, and I have Dragon Roar into defensive stance. This just allows me to see the tooltips when I spec for each one without actually having to move around my buttons. It's pretty handy like that. Okay, so the next macro is my demoralizing banner macro, and all this will use is it will use demoralizing banner or mocking banner depending on which one's off cooldown, and I put the banner down, and it's reset every 180 seconds, so you'll always be able to have one looking ready and waiting to go straight away the second you put it down. As you guys can see, the demoralizing banner is ready to go straight away even though I put that one down. Okay, so the next macro I have is my execute macro, and what this does is it's only there for when I need an assist target in RBGs or in more PvP. It's just a good little macro to have. The next one is my focus arena macros, and all this will do will focus 1, 2 or 3 depending on the aura. It'll always go from top to bottom, so whichever one's on top will be the one that will focus for 1, 2 and 3. The next macro I have is my heroic throw macro, and what this does is if I use heroic throw on a target, it will use heroic throw, and I will keep pressing it, it will use normal throws. It's pretty cool like that. Okay, so the next one is my life macro, and all it will do will use enrage regeneration if you're spec for it. If you're not, then it will use rallying cry. It will use master healing potion if you have any and you're in a BG or a jewel, but I don't use them in jewels. And if you're using a health stone from a warlock, it's just a good idea to have all that together. The next one is my mace to face macro, my one-shot macro, and all it does is it will use stop handling protection if you have it up. It will use recklessness, you trinket, skull banner, avatar if you spec for it, and it will use a potion of Mogu power if you have one, and you use Bloodbath if you're spec for it. It's a good little macro to have. I quite enjoy that one. It's a really good one, especially in many situations. Now here's my safeguard macro, and all this will do is if I put the banner down, I'd have this guy over here target. It'll keep my target and then I can just charge straight over to here without a problem, you know? It's really cool like that. The next one is my safeguard and intervene macro to my healer. Now you will put your healer's name in there, you will safeguard intervene to your healer, and you put spell effect up, and it will keep your target because the target's the last target. My next macro is going to be my shattering throw macro, and all it will do is it will cast shattering throw, and it will cancel our hand of protection and Bladestorm. Okay, so as you guys can see, if I use Bladestorm and I press that, it'll cancel it, and then I press it again and use my shattering throw. Okay, so the next macros is my charge battle and charge commanding shout. Now you guys may be wondering why you're doing that. Well, before the patch of 5.4, hamstring was on the GCD. Because hamstring was on the GCD, it meant when you charged in, you would get a GCD from your battle shout, and basically that would mean that you wouldn't be able to use hamstring straight away. Whereas now, because it's off the GCD, if I charge in, I can hamstring straight away, as you guys can see, mortal strike straight away, colossal smash straight away. There's no lag at all, there's no bad things about putting battle shout into macro, and it uses it every time it comes off cooldown, so you won't ever have to remember. The next one is my focus charge macro, and these are all going to be focus macros. So I put my focus on that target there, targeting this guy, and I press it, it will use focus charge, and I press it again, it will use focus fear. But as you guys can still see, I still have this one target over here. Now all that does is it casts charge of focus, casts intimidate and show focus, cancelaura, Bladestorm and hand of protection if need be. Next one is the focus pummel. So I'm still going to have this guy set as my focus, and I target this guy, but as you guys can see, if I press the button, it will immune that guy because he's not can't be silenced or interrupted. But I still have this one target here, as you guys can see. Next is my focus shatter macro, and all that will do is it will shatter the guy if you don't want to untarget this guy, and you can just keep your eye on this guy over here. Next is my heroic strike macro. Now this one is probably a very rare macro and you probably won't use it that often. Before the patch you would have, but now since hamstring's off the GCD, there's very little choice to use heroic strike because of the fact that slams costing 25 rage now as well. But there is still limited options of the fact that you may get 100 rage sometimes from a double charge, like you may have been CC'd and then you charged again and you got like more rage. These are the only times I would optionally use this macro here. But it's still worth mentioning simple for the fact that it can be used during arenas when you're on 100 rage if you've got too much rage to spend. Next one is my enormous focus pummel macro, and all it does is it will just pummel the target and use cancelaura, hand of protection, Bladestorm. Next one is my shield wall PvP macro. Now you're probably wondering why you would have a shield wall macro. Well, the main reason is the fact that shield wall still needs to be there because of the simple fact that you may be Bladestorming and you may need to shield wall and cancel it. As you guys are going to see now, I'm going to be Bladestorm. Let's say someone automatically tries to kill me, press that, cancel or Bladestorm, and press it again, and the shield walls. It's just a quick way to keep yourself alive. And next one is my shout macro, and what we'll do, it will use disrupting shout, staggering shout, or piercing hail depending on spec. Now I rarely use piercing hail, so I don't actually have that tooltip anywhere on my screen, but this one here will use show staggering shout on spec for it. Okay, so the next macro is my spell reflect macro, and what the spell reflect macro will do, if you have Bladestorm up and you press it, it will automatically uncancel Bladestorm, and then you press it again, it will use spell reflect. Let's say your Bladestorm and chaos ball's coming, quickly press it and press it again, and I cancel it and use reflect and reflects the chaos ball back at them. Next one is my stampeding shout macro. Now this one's rarely used, but it's only there for the tooltip for staggering shout and for the simple fact that stampeding shout you'll be able to use in the arena if you're partied with a druid. Next one is my focus stormbolt macro. Let's set this guy as my focus again. Let's see a target in this guy, this is the DPS and the healer's over there. Focus stormbolt the healer, charge in, do some damage, kick some ass, and you're good to go. All of the macros can be found in the description below if you guys want to check that out. Okay, so that's it for my macros. Next up I'm going to show you my keybinds. Now the first keybind is my mouse wheel up, which is going to be my safeguard / intervene to my healer and your spell reflect macro. Next up is my shift and nag button 3, which says page down, which is actually my trinket. The next one is my spell reflect macro, which is actually going to be alt and mouse wheel up. The next one is my shield wall macro, which is going to be my middle mouse just down on its own. Next one is my pummel macro, which is just nag button 3. Next one is my shouting throw macro, which is actually shift and mouse wheel up. The next one is my safeguard macro, which is actually shift and nag button 4. Next one is my life macro, which is alt and nag button 6. Next one is my thunderclap, which is alt and scroll mouse wheel down. Next one is my berserker rage, which is just shift and mouse wheel down. Next one is my 3 button macro, which is trinket, bloodbath, and any potions you may have, which is basically alt and numpad 3. The next macros, we're going to go to the right here, which is the second line here, which is going to be, the first one is going to be my numpad 5, which is going to use slam. Next one is or, which will just use charge. Next one is my focus charge fair macro, which is control or. Next one is my disarm, which is G. Next one after that is my stormbolt, which is F. Next one after that, which is my one and all shout macro, which will use all my shouts, which is also naga button 6. Next one is my heroic leap, which is the C key on the keyboard. Next one is my one shot macro, which is going to be V on the keyboard. The next one is my stormbolt focus macro, which is control F. The next one is my pretty much my mount, which is control mouse wheel down. And the last one is going to be my demoralizing banner, which is just mouse wheel down on its own. Next we have is my focus macros, and the focus macro for my focus setting throw is control and mouse wheel up. The next ones over here is my focus 1, 2 and 3 arena macros. So the first one is my focus arena 1, which is numpad 1, which is also naga button 1. Then you got control naga button 4 for my focus 2, control naga button 7 for my focus 3, and then you got control naga button 2 for my victory rush, and control naga button 3 for my focus pummel. And finally we have the last bar. Number 1 is going to be my Colossus Smash. Number 2 is my Mortal Strike. Number 3 is my Overpower. Number 4 is my Heroic Strike Colossus Smash macro. Number 5 is my One for All Dragon Rush Shockwave Bladestorm macro. Number 6 is going to be my Naga Button 1, which is my Execute macro. Number 7, which is my Naga Button 2, is my Hamstring. Number 8 is also my Naga Button 8, which is my Heroic Throw macro. Number 9 is my Naga Button 7, which is my Battle Stance macro. 0 is my Sweeping Strike macro, which is also Naga Button 9. My Defensive Stance macro, which is also Naga Button 4. And then my Fear, which is Intimidating Shout, which is Alt and my middle mouse wheel. And that is all the keybinds we have for today, guys. Final part, what you guys are probably waiting for, which is the rotation for 5.4. Okay, so next up we're going to talk about the warrior rotations. Now the rotation we're going to start off with is the AoE rotation, and then we're going to move on to the single target rotation. Okay, so first up, this first rotation is going to be based around Whirlwind. And the reason we're going to base it around Whirlwind is because of this new minor glyph. Whirlwind gives you 15 rage over 6 seconds, but no longer generates rage from auto attacks. Now what that does is if you charge in here and use Whirlwind, it'll give you a stack, which will generate 2.5 rage every second for 6 seconds. Now if you use Whirlwind again, it's going to stack twice and it's going to generate 5 rage every second for 6 seconds. The idea is to try to keep that stacked up to 2 while you're doing your damage. Now the rotation for AoE is not going to be based on a single way of doing it, but more a way of keeping up certain things. The first thing you're going to be keeping up is Thunderclap. The next thing you're going to be keeping up is Mortal Strike every time it comes off cooldown. The next thing you're going to be keeping up is your Whirlwind, of course, every 6 seconds. And then lastly, if you have enough rage, you're going to use Sweeping Strikes and you're going to use Slam to do extra cleave damage. Now of course you can use Colossus Smash before you use the Slam for cleave damage, but ideally you got to make sure you keep your Whirlwind up and your Mortal Strike up. Thunderclap is not as important to get off every 6 seconds, but it's definitely a worthwhile change because Thunderclap damage is increased by 50% and it's on a 10 rage cost, so it's well worth using. Now obviously in between this you're going to have Bladestorm and you're going to have Bloodbath, which is a really cool thing you can do every minute and keep the pressure up. And the idea is just to keep as much damage as you can on the target while keeping your Whirlwind up, keeping your Mortal Strike up, keeping your Thunderclap up, and using Sweeping Strikes and Slam every time you got enough rage to do so. Okay, so here one of my DK friends is going to show the AoE damage spread pressure on 3 targets from a DK. He's from Tyrannical, so he's pretty cool, helping me out with this. So let's see what kind of spread pressure you can do on 3 targets here. We're up to 84k without any CDs. He's getting some nice procs here, which is pretty decent, about 80k, 93k, which is pretty nice. 94, 96, 87, 93, 92, 90, about 90k damage pressure on average, which is pretty decent for 3 targets. So next we're going to show the warrior AoE damage on spread pressure on 3 targets. Okay, so you just saw the DK AoE rotation. Now that was without any CDs, and I'm going to show you the warrior AoE rotation without any CDs as well. Now this is how the warrior rotation is going to go, and it's more of a priority system as I said before, but just watch it as we go. And you're going to charge in Thunderclap, Whirlwind, Mortal Strike, Colossus Smash, Whirlwind, thunderclap, mortal strike, whirlwind, then leap out, charge back in, thunderclap, whirlwind, mortal strike, sweeping strikes, slam, whirlwind, overpower, mortal strike, thunderclap, whirlwind, keep the buff going, mortal strike, thunderclap's coming again, whirlwind's coming again, classic smash, mortal strike, whirlwind, thunderclap, overpower, mortal strike, whirlwind's dropping again, refresh it, thunderclap, overpower, mortal strike, whirlwind, thunderclap again, mortal strike when it comes off, whirlwind, thunderclap, and that's pretty much it. As you guys see, I'm floating about 49k DPS, almost 46, almost 100k DPS here, guys. I can get it, I can hit it, I can hit it. Let's keep going, come on, you can hit it, come on. There we go, 100k DPS. Warriors, as you guys can see, are hitting a hell of a lot more damage than they were before patch. That's because thunderclap and whirlwind, especially with that new glyph, is doing a hell of a lot more rage. So as you guys can see, I was flowing above 92 rage there, and I could have easily put sweeping strikes and do a few slams in between. So Warriors are actually hitting quite a hefty amount of damage in AoE wise, so it's definitely a good way to go. Warriors this patch is whirlwind, this whirlwind glyph. I quite like the look of it. It does an awful lot of rage generation for Warriors, allows us to stay in the fight a bit more longer. You only have to leap out when you get low every so often, and you won't get low more than every 30 seconds, so Warriors can do a heck of a lot of AoE damage. So you guys should practice that rotation, and the rotation is basically just whirlwind, keep it stacked up, mortal strike every time it comes off cooldown, and make sure you use thunderclap every time it comes off cooldown. And then you can put Colossus Smash or overpowers or sweeping strikes and slams in between there. You could also even go for the sweeping strikes glyph and maybe gain some more rage that way, which would be quite healthy as well. Like, I can see that being a really good way. I just wanted to say a big thank you to Mr. Perez for actually helping me out. He's a Darmactar Guildie, and he also has a stream, as you guys can see on the screen right now. You guys go check it out. He's a really good DK and he has some really awesome content, so go check him out. Next pair is going to consist of the AoE burst rotation, and basically it's going to consist of charging in, thunderclap, sweeping strikes, popping CDs, and then Bladestorm. Now I'm not going to use my one-shot macro. You guys can use your imagination for the damage of that, but I'm just showing you guys the damage you can do every 1 minute in RBGs. So we're going to charge in, thunderclap, pop all CDs, sweeping strikes, and then Bladestorm. Now watch recount, look at the damage, guys. 170k, 178k, 182k, 180k. That's really beefy, considering that it's just a 6-second CD. We're just every 1 minute we can do that as well, guys. Every 1 minute, so it's a really cool CD. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about was the single target rotation. The single target rotation is going to be more, because generally most of the time you're going to be under 45 rage. So it's going to be overpower twice, slam once, mortal strike, Colossus Smash, overpower twice, slam once, mortal strike, Colossus Smash. And that's going to be the average rotation for non-burst. For burst, it's going to be charge in, mortal strike, Colossus Smash, pop all CDs, slam twice, overpower once, mortal strike, slam twice, overpower once. That's going to be the rotation for burst. So let's show you the difference between the normal rotation and the burst rotation. Alright, so here we go. Charge in, mortal strike, Colossus Smash, overpower twice, and slam, mortal strike, Colossus Smash, overpower twice, and then slam. Let's see it for the basic rotation. Okay, so we're going to do the burst rotation now. I'm going to charge in, mortal strike, Colossus Smash, pop all TDs, slam twice, mortal strike, overpower, slam twice, leap away to get more rage, charge back in, slam once, mortal strike, slam again, which is pretty amount of decent damage. Like, I mean, the slam bomb is pretty hard to pull off. Like, at the moment, Warriors are pretty decent damage. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's the rotations, macros, and keybinds I have. Hope you guys enjoyed the guide, and I'd love to keep talking to you guys, but my tea's getting cold, as you guys can see. I'm only joking. Also, don't forget to check out my Warcraft movies, Facebook and Twitter. Be sure to check them out, guys. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. This is Evy out. I love you all. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.